Welcome to I May Be Wrong.
I don't know what this world is coming to.
But I don't think so. We're broadcasting from the greater Nashville area, the home of country music, beyond the borders of political correctness and identity politics. Facts and faith are our demarcations. Truth lights our path.
Here's the Barry White of Podcast Radio,
the Venerable Alfonso Ashworth.
This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Psalms 118-24. Welcome to another exciting episode of Lion Chasers Radio. Of course, I'm Alfonso Ashworth, and you are in for a treat. You are in for a treat. But before we get started, I want to play something for you. Listen very closely.
A little bit. Maybe he's talking about it was great during segregation in 60s. No. Is that what he's talking about? Okay, maybe that's not it either. Maybe he's talking about the 70s when we had the Black Panther movement because people were still not being treated equally and we were still fighting for our rights. Maybe that's what he's talking about. No. Maybe. Or maybe he's talking about the 90s when we had police officers beating Rodney King in the street and people were looting because the police officers were beating up and killing African Americans. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Teach it. So it's not the 90s? Then we in the 2000s and we still having the same issues. So when my president says, let's make America great again, when was he talking about it? When was he talking about it? He must be talking about when it was great for Europeans. Because when it comes to minorities, America has never been great for minorities. And even now, it makes me go, when I'm trying to figure out when was it great, and then now he's trying to stop immigration. But wait a minute, hold on. Immigration means people from other countries coming to America. He wants to stop it. Build a wall, keep them out. I don't want them. So maybe he wants it great again like it used to be.
You know what I say about that?
If you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave.
Let me say that one more time.
If you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave.
Look, if you hate our country, as President Trump said recently, if you hate America, if you hate this country, then leave. It's that simple. You don't have to stay here. You don't have to stick around. And of course, I have a special guest waiting in the wings, so hold up. Of course, you know how I am on the show. I may be wrong, but I don't think so. Now, of course, don't forget that you can share this with your friends. Let everyone know where we are. We are now on a podcast. We can find us on iTunes. You can find the show on TuneIn. And we're going to be adding other podcast outlets as we go along. And hopefully, with your support, we're going to be able to spread this message. But right now, I don't want to waste any more time talking about indoctrination, talking about what's happening. That audio clip that I just played for you was not at a campaign rally. The audio clip was in one of your public schools. The audio clip was a school teacher indoctrinating the students to the point they were telling her to preach that America has never been great, that America has never been the United States of America, that it's always been about Europeans. It's never been about immigrants, whereas most of the people that have come here came here by legal immigration. Welcome to I May Be Wrong, but I Don't Think So. None other than Mr. Stanley Levy with BlackManThinkin. Welcome to the show, brother.
Good morning, Al. How you doing, sir?
Man, I am fired up. I know how you can get fired up. Of course, I think you got your audio thing happening in the background. You know the routine. We're in a time to where, and we've already discussed this a little bit about indoctrination and how big of a topic that is. And of course, this is only a 30-minute show. And you were the guy that I thought of right away, because I listened to your show, and I want you to, of course, tell the audience about your show. Of course, BlackManThinkin, and I always listen to your program. And brother, when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
You're doing just fine,
man. I tell you, talk about not only what you do. Tell my audience how they can find you. But I want to talk about this thing with indoctrination as well. But tell the audience where they can locate you on the dial.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for giving me that opportunity. We just changed our flagship. We were on Talk America Radio. We just moved to Mojo 50 Radio. So that is Mojo MOJO50.com. So we can be found there every Monday night, and that would be from 10 to midnight on the East Coast, and I'm on the West Coast, so it's 7 to 9 p.m. out here on the West Coast. So we do our best to be there faithfully, and for me, it's really a matter of I'm an American black man. I'm a Christian American black man. And I'm only going to tell you what's crossing my mind from that perspective, because the rest of this is really designed to tear down the American experiment. And now we have four progressive witches have formed their own little coven, and they're trying to do that. They're trying to do that same thing. This is not a squad. This is a coven. You have four not very intelligent, extremely passionate, just ridiculous, typical leftist POC females, led by an ignorant bartender, and it's amazing.
Go ahead.
No, but when I listened, we just had her along with the other, at least, I think all four of them were there. No. The Omar, the wife of her brother, she wasn't there when they testified before some committee about the conditions at the border. And, Ocasio-Cortez lied through her Mr. Ed teeth.
Right.
Saying how people were drinking out of toilets. And there was even a pastor in Texas, Hispanic pastor. He was incensed, he was outraged, and then he went to the facility to see what she was talking about and found out that she had lied.
That don't matter.
And it's like,
that don't matter to the left.
No, it doesn't matter to the left. But what the left doesn't seem to recall is that the same silent majority that Richard Nixon identified, that then went on to elect Ronald Reagan, who then stuck around long enough to elect George W. Bush, and then most recently in 2016, they were cited again in the upset that brought Trump in. They pay attention to who's lying. They're not like the left, and they're not like the so-called moderates. I always say this about moderates. There ain't nothing in the middle of the road except painted lines and roadkill. Miss me with the moderate nonsense. I couldn't care less about that. Basically that means you want to please everybody, and you don't want to be put under the gun for anything. Forget you. You know what? You can do the same thing that the president indicated would be appropriate for the coven. Get on the next thing smoking and get up out of here. It's not a matter of well, they hate the country. No. If you're not with what America is doing, we have plenty of people lined up in the legal immigration queue. If you don't want to be on board, Get out of here so we can bring on some people and really watch the nation and the national economy and the national culture, have all those things come together and go gangbusters. If you don't want to be part of it, there's about 190 plus other countries on the planet. I highly recommend you go ahead, get your passport updated, renewed, get you a new one, spin the globe, put your finger someplace, and then catch the next thing smoking.
And we'll give you a parting gift, while we're at it. We're not going to be totally insistent.
I'll give you the left foot of dissociation just to get the heck out of Dodge. This is really simple. You have the progressive left, which has taken over a significant portion of the communications in this country. They haven't taken over the country, but they control the media. They control education. And what they're doing is, yes, they are indoctrinating. They're making sure that for the first 18 plus years, and now they're pushing it on because they have such a strong presence in the post-secondary education in the college system, that they're basically taking American children from the age of 5, from kindergarten all the way up through college if they graduate, and continually exposing them to lying information against America. And people want to ask why, and I said, where have you been? Well, I mean, no, there aren't that many people out there who are 100 years old. This has been going on since the turn of the 20th century. The progressive movement is not new, and they called themselves progressives back at the turn of the 20th century.
Exactly.
This is the same. These are the same people. These are the same ideologies. This is the same. The only thing that happened over the years is they play the long game. Therefore, the anarchists of the early 20th century, the ones who were killing presidents and all like that, okay, they got dealt with. Every so often, somebody in America or Americans raised up to deal with them. Back when the anarchists were coming up in the early 20th century, J. Edgar Hoover dealt with them. People only remember J. Edgar when he got old and crazy and was saying things about Martin Luther King that were true, but the way he was going about it, power had corrupted him. But J. Edgar Hoover did work for America, keeping anarchists at bay.
And what happened in the last, say, 50 years, the last 40, 50 years? What is something that you can point to that the American people can say, aha, this is where they made their move to bring this to the population, socialism, communism?
Well, the two things they did was, and for whatever reason, three things they did. And for some reason, the American people did not respond in a forceful manner, or at least the way you would have wanted. One, they moved against God, taking him out of schools, basically trying to take him out of the public arena. Now, that's something France did at the beginning of the 20th century, and they've been invaded twice by Germany, and they're getting invaded a third time by the Muslims. Okay, fine. You don't want me? Okay, no problem. They're getting that. Another thing that they did was they finally found a way to destroy the black nuclear family, that was through the war on poverty.
Come on.
And when I say destroy, I am not joking when I say destroy. You had that whole thing going on in 1964 with LBJ announcing the war on poverty, and by 1965, the Moynihan Report had come out to show exactly how devastating those policies were to the black family. And the devastating fact was back then in 1965, everyone was alarmed when the black illegitimacy rate was between 25 and 29%. They thought that was terrible. This is an outrage. This is a crisis. Well, it's 77.3% now. There is no black family. Relative to the other demographics in this country, there is no black family. There is no nuclear family. There's just a collection of folks living together who happen to have a biological relationship, but they're not family.
Or they're not acting like the family in terms of how they vote, how they carry themselves.
No. They have bonded. If you're talking about the fact that they are a family, they have bonded with white progressives. That's why I call them pets of color. They have bonded with white progressives and continue to support the very policies that destroyed them as an independent community with family units of their own. So you moved away from God, you destroyed the black family, and for whatever reason, folks stood idly by, at least politically speaking, as you said, as you then declared war on unborn children. You put those three things together, and it is amazing. The only good thing about that last one is, despite what people, it's the law of the land, but the American people never accepted abortion. And they say, why do you say that? Because there are 80% fewer. The number of operating abortion clinics in this country has dropped by 80% from its peak in the early 70s. To the point where now people should be remembering, right now in all of Missouri, there's only one abortion clinic, and that thing has one foot in the grave and another on a bar of soap.
Exactly. And Stanley, of course, you're listening to Stanley Levy with BlackManThinkin, and he's definitely on target with this issue of family, institutionalized indoctrination, how the country has went trying to go left, trying to go socialist. And you mentioned the four amigos, or whatever they want to call themselves.
No, the four witches of the Progressive Covenant.
Come on.
Yeah,
and,
what about them?
And you also tie that neatly in a package to where policy, especially, say 10 years ago, the policy that, say, Barack Obama established, how much damage did that person do while in office?
Barack Obama, I'll put it this way, we are now seeing, every time you hear a revelation at DOJ, you are now starting to see just how much damage Barack Obama was doing through his administration. Most of what Barack Obama did was not public. Most of it was not public. Or more to the point, it was not published.
Correct.
Because the media knew what he was doing. The media knew that he was bringing communists and Islamists into the United States and into the United States government. They knew this. They weren't going to say anything. They knew what he was doing to the military. They knew that he was basically doing a twofold push on the military: one, to get the God of Israel out, and two, to get homosexuality in. And they said, well, Bill Clinton. I said, no, Bill Clinton, don't ask, don't tell, doesn't push homosexuality in the military. What Barack Obama did was push homosexuality while at the same time restricting the God of Israel. The idea was to weaken the U.S. military, which he did. But, the thing about the U.S. military is they are so far ahead from a effectiveness standpoint, so far ahead of any other military on the planet, it was going to take a while to break them. And now you have someone who is reversing that damage to the military. He damaged the economy. When people talk about the economy and say, what has Trump done? He didn't pass. I said, the only thing you needed to do was get rid of the executive policies that the Obama administration and others had put in place, which restricted economic activity. The dirty little secret about the economy is the only thing the government can do is mess it up. Because the economy is not the government. The economy is the day-to-day activity of the American people. If the government gets out of the way, there's nothing that can stop the American people. But Barack Obama made sure that he put his foot on the neck of the American people with regard to their ability to make money and be productive. All Donald Trump had to do, and he could as president, was get rid of those regulations. And now the 3% growth 3% annual GDP growth that you never saw when Barack Obama was president, you're seeing again.
And the sky is the limit on the economy. I just see there's no way. I mean, I guess there is, but if you look at how well the economy is doing in manufacturing, we just got a new report out, and the manufacturing is unbelievably going through.
And let's not forget that both Barack Obama and Joe Biden were out there telling the American people that the jobs that had been lost were never coming back. I'm like, okay, so, and now, of course, Joe Biden wants to be president. Okay, so wait, let me get this straight. You talked down the American economy. You said Americans couldn't do something, and now that you've been removed, the American people have now done what you said they couldn't do. The jobs that you said were gone, that you took away, and you thought they could not regenerate. They've now regenerated those jobs, but you now want to be president. And I'm like, you know what? Unless we're going to make an American industry out of sniffing women's hair, I don't know why in the world anybody believes that this clown should be president.
Well, Uncle Joe is out here already saying, if you want to keep your plan, you can keep your plan. If you want to keep your doctor, you can keep your doctor. I don't know if he's that clueless.
Which is the dumbest. It's the dumbest thing in the world, because it was the political lie of the year in 2013 when Barack Obama said it. And now, if you want to talk this stuff, let's not forget that Obamacare has finally been determined to be unconstitutional.
Amen.
It's unconstitutional. In December 2018, a federal judge said, nope, we ain't do. And the problem is the Supreme Court will not hear the case again. It's not coming back to them, because the only thing that allowed John Roberts to come up with the fanciful definition of a tax to make Obamacare constitutional, Congress did away with that. They did away with the penalty when they enacted tax reform. So now there is nothing to support its constitutionality. The 16th Amendment no longer supports it. And a judge determined it was unconstitutional, and because the way the law was written, if the mandate goes, it's not severable from the rest of the law. If that goes, then the whole thing goes. Obamacare is dead.
In the water.
Now, what the states do, this is where people get it twisted. Obamacare, the federal law, that's unconstitutional. It's dead. What the states choose to do, they have always had that option to do. Romney Care was around in Massachusetts before Obamacare was a gleam in Barack Obama's eye. California can still do whatever stupidity they want to do and ensure illegal immigrants in the process, which is what they intend to do. Every state always has had that option. The whole issue was trying to say, no, you cannot compel the American people to buy something they do not want or do not feel they need.
Exactly. We got about 2 minutes, Stanley. One, I want you to tell people how they can find you again, and then I want you to sort of give us your words of wisdom of who you think is going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with Donald Trump in 2020. Go.
Okay. Well, again, BlackManThinkin is on Monday nights, 10 to midnight Eastern Time, and 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Time. You can find it on mojo50.com, mojo50.com. The number is 50.com. We're also on WDDQ, Talk 92.1 FM in Valdosta, Georgia, and WJHC, Talk 107.5, which is in North Florida, Talk Radio. Also on freedominamericaradio.com. And we can still get to the website. I had to do something with the website, but that's BlackManThinkin.com. I'm planning to get back to writing again. But that's where that's where I can be found. Of course, I can be found beating people up on Facebook every so often, like daily. But as far as your next thing, We have got a bad habit in America that been given by the left, and that is to basically put everything on people. Donald Trump did not win. The American people found somebody who actually was willing to represent them. The idea is it's not a matter of standing toe to toe with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is simply the stalking horse. The American people are the ones who basically said, no, we don't want a third term of Barack Obama, and we don't want Hillary C. Hag Clinton. We do not want that. As long as Donald Trump continues to represent the will and the ideas of the American people, which for the most part he does faithfully, then the American people are beginning to wake up to the fact that it's not Donald Trump against the left, it's the left against them. What needs to happen is the American people need to stand up themselves, reaffirm the fact that there is someone who is speaking for them. And as long as it is not an issue of personalities, there is no way that Donald Trump can lose. Because the folks on the left, they have no policy. What are you going to do? Kamala Harris, Willie Brown's garden tool? What are you going to do with that?
Exactly.
You're going to do something with Liwasa, Elizabeth Warren. What are you going to do with that?
Bernie.
Then you got Buttigieg, who's all of a sudden determined that he was a victim of racism when he was a child. White as he can be. And I'm like, what do you have over there, Bernie? Come on, Bernie sold out when Hillary bought him a house last time around.
Exactly. And the DNC.
What do you have nothing over? You have nothing over there on the left. And my only regret this time around is that the lying bartender, the leader of the Progressive Witch Coven, AOC, is not old enough to run, because she's arrogant enough to believe that she should run. And if only you could get that buffoon on a national ballot, if only you could get her on a national ballot, that would be epic, because the slapdown, the smackdown would be heard on Pluto.
Brother,
because she's terrible.
I tell you, you have nailed it down. Anybody that wants to deal with it, they can say whatever they want to say on your show, on your Facebook page, but you got the facts. And I tell you what, I really want to thank you for coming on the show today. It's been fantastic. And of course, I love your show. I listen to it religiously, and you one of my idols, and I really appreciate it, Stanley. God bless you.
Well, I thank you for that, man. I appreciate you giving me a chance to come on and be with you today.
All right. Thank you, sir. Of course, you were listening to Stanley Levy with BlackManThinkin. And, of course, you're listening on the show. I may be wrong, but I don't think so. There's been a lot of comments in the chat room. Keita Dukes Mosby, Paula, Dawn, and others who are in our chat rooms right now. We're working out some of the details on the chat room. How you can listen to the show is you can go to ImayBeWrongButIDon'tThinkSo.com. The best way to listen, of course, is on your computer if you're there. If not, you can listen on your smart devices. And we have given specific instructions on how you can listen and still be able to chat and do some things with the iPhone. Apple has a way of taking over the technology, and if you're not playing it a certain way, you may not be able to listen and also open other apps. But if you go and join and then subscribe, I promise you I will send you a video that's put together by me that will show you how to get around that. And it's great, but go to ImayBeWrongButIDon'tThinkSo.com and you can subscribe. You can also catch a re-air and on the podcast at iTunes. You can go and also catch a re-air on TuneIn and from the website as well. But, of course, this has been a great show. I really want to thank you, the listeners. Don't forget, spread the word and donate. Look, this is a listener-supported venture. We need your support. Those who are buying the T-shirts and the coffee mugs, I thank you tremendously. It's going to go toward making this show, a better program, and you will be thankful that this program is available, especially going into next year. But I want to thank you. I want to thank those that are out there, and as Donald Trump said,
if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave.
God bless America. God bless you. Peace.
You've been listening to Alfonso Ashworth, the Barry White of Podcast Radio. Go forth and share his message. I may be wrong, but I don't think so. Remember, no two people can ever occupy the same place at the same time. You were uniquely and wonderfully made. Born an original. Don't die a copy. God bless. Peace.